Hi, I'm Annie with Miserable Cow Coaching. Contact info is in the description. Today I'm going to talk about judgment, being judgmental, becoming less judgmental. I was recently taking this personal assessment test that is part of a coaching program that I've been going through for the last 9 months or so. And one of the questions was about how judgmental I am, rating it on a scale of extremely judgmental, not judgmental at all. I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but I think it might have been something like, I am completely non-judgmental, true or false. And as I was reading this question on the test, I was thinking, I'm judgmental as fuck. Because you're supposed to say, yeah, I'm not judgmental at all. That's like the acceptable answer. But I was like, no, honestly, I'm judgmental as fuck. In reality, like on a continuum of all people, I'm probably less judgmental than a lot of people and more judgmental than some. But I am judgmental. And if I were to hear someone say, I am completely non-judgmental, I would think they were full of shit. I would be suspicious and annoyed, and that in itself is a judgment, thus proving that I am judgmental. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm not judgmental. The human brain is wired to categorize what it perceives, and that's a really useful survival tool. And you could say, well, that's not really judgment, that's discernment. Sure, there is a distinction between discernment and judgment. But that same mechanism, that evolutionary protection mechanism that creates discernment, also creates judgment in the human mind. And it produces it pretty rampantly, like in every moment. So here's my approach to my own judgmental thinking. I'm aware of it and I question it. That's it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm non-judgmental, but I will admit that I'm aware of my own judgments, more so maybe than some people. And I have cultivated a practice of questioning those judgments immediately as they come up. So non-judgment is a practice. It's something that I do over and over and over again, every day. So there's a space between the moment you become aware of the judgment before you react to the person or circumstance that you've labeled. And awareness of that space increases as you cultivate this practice of being aware of your own judgments. And then from that space, you can choose really consciously how you want to respond to the situation. So just like a lot of growth things, it's just about awareness and agency. You increase your awareness of your own programming, and then from that place you have agency to decide how you want to react to the world. Another trap that people can fall into is judging themselves when they notice that they have a judgment. It's really fun. Just another one of the mind's silly traps. If I ever catch myself judging myself for being judgmental, I just have to have a good laugh and move on, because what else can you do? Growth comes from increased awareness. Noticing your tendencies and your programming is the first step. So if you notice that you're judging and then you question the judgment, that's the best you can do. I heard something the other day that your overall happiness and satisfaction in life is directly correlated to how judgmental you are. Yeah, that sounds right. But I think I'd make one change to the wording of that. I'd say that happiness is correlated to how much you believe your own judgments. Because most of us make judgments. It's sort of like normal and automatic, but we don't have to believe them. They aren't really real. We have perceptions, and human perception isn't necessarily reliable. We sort of take it for granted, but it's not necessarily reliable. We're all looking through filters, so perception is flawed. We're looking through filters, and also we don't really know that we're perceiving correctly. We're perceiving like a narrow spectrum of reality. There are things that we can't perceive. But even that flawed perception, that isn't the judgment itself. The judgment is the label that we put on what we are perceiving. There may be some ascended masters who are perceiving directly without labeling or judging what they perceive, but I'm definitely not one of them. I do think that presence and curiosity is the antidote to judgment. So if all of your energy is focused on the present moment with an open heart and curiosity, then there isn't any energy left over for labeling stuff. So the more curious you are, then the labeling decreases. You're not labeling. You're open. You're curious about what you're perceiving. So lead any wins that one for being like super curious. Yeah, but again, it's a practice, an ongoing practice. Most people are not able to maintain a permanent state of non-judgment. Anyway, those are my thoughts on judgment.